Tiffany Napper, let's go. Keynote speaker for Impact Effect 23. I'm so hyped to have you be a part of what I've been building over the last year. And I'm just so excited to spend more time with you and continue to learn from you. And
Mhm.
I know you're just going to bring the heat. So I wanted to just chat with you today and, give a little sneak peek what you're going to be chatting about, learn a little bit more about you. Uh,
Yeah.
and really just make an impact for everybody that comes to Impact Effect 23.
Oh my God. Yes, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. Thank you for
Amazing,
having me.
amazing. I am psyched. I am psyched. I know you've got so many nuggets and your history. So why don't we just jump right in?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you, some of the things you've done, your journey. Um,
Yeah.
from our coffee conversations, it sounds amazing. So let's share it with the world.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was having coffee with someone else the other day and sharing an old story about myself and realized how much of an entrepreneur I have been my entire life. It was related to the idea that I had uh, did a house swap on Craigslist long before Airbnb was a thing. So, long story short, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a five-time business builder. So I'm on my fifth business right now, and I really and truly am just an entrepreneur at heart. I'm self-identified as a high achiever, a creative, and I love what I do. And now I'm a business coach and I help other small and medium business owners uh, excel and thrive in their role as CEO. But I've done a lot of things. I was in the music industry for a very long time as a creative director. I was a publicist. I had my own PR and branding agency. So I straddle the line of strategy and marketing and mindset with everything that I do now.
It's amazing, amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
psyched. Like I'm so
Yeah.
fired up. And I've just enjoyed so many of our conversations, and I'm just excited. So let's dive into it. Give us a
Yeah.
couple nuggets. What's to
Yeah.
expect from Tiffany Napper at Impact Effect 23?
I'm hopefully gonna really fire you up, but also give you some clarity as you get ready. I know how it is when we go to these events. Sometimes it can feel like we're getting a lot of information. And so my job for myself is to set you up so that you're really ready to absorb what you need to absorb and ditch what you don't need, right? So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna shine a light on a little bit of the mirage, if you will, of social media, that shiny object syndrome we hear about all the time, and help you identify what is the picture that matters for you so that you don't have to fill your brain with things that aren't going to have any sort of ROI on your business. So it might get a little spicy at times because I might give you some real truth checks, but it'll be really good. And we're going to talk about how you build that stairway to clarity so that your brand is getting more visible, you're getting more traction, and it's not just to chase a number. It's not just to chase that 5K or 15K or 100K Instagram followers. It's so that you see that bottom line growing for your business.
It's so important. Like
Yeah.
that concept of just being real about it and understanding. And I mean,
Mhm.
clarity, right? There's so many distractions. Threads
Mhm.
came out. You've got
Yep.
TikTok, right? You've got
Yep.
transitions, and Twitter is now called X. And what do you do? Do you do threads? Do you do Twitter? And
Mhm.
I just love this because for me personally, it's going to be so beneficial for me to hear. But I know so many entrepreneurs because they ask me, right? Like they come to
Mhm.
me and ask, and I'm like, I'm not even the expert. I'm right there with you. I'm on the
Yeah.
journey trying to figure it out.
Well, look, we're all on a journey. It's just that I used to run social media for my clients, and obviously now I'm most active on Instagram because I've found that to be the platform that makes the biggest impact for my business. But I've made all the mistakes in the world, and I'm going to get up there and share what some of those are and what that looks like and how you take that data and pivot, right? Look, don't take it as, oh my God, I'm a failure, but okay, what did I learn from this, and what are we going to do to move us forward?
And I think that's so important, especially right now.
Hmm.
It's so impactful. I feel like with where the world's at and what's going on and all these new handles that I talked about. And it's just so funny how that timing aligns so perfectly.
Yeah,
When we
I'm
were
excited.
talking about some things that you could talk about, and
Yeah.
because ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany, she's got some really cool concepts. So when we were trying to go through that, I was like, man, that one sounds great. And then all these things happened since we decided that.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
I know.
it's just working in our favor to help these entrepreneurs because it's getting chaotic. It's getting
Yeah.
distractions and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I work with so many entrepreneurs who have ADD, ADHD, and so every time something new comes onto the platform, they'll send me a message, "What is this Threads thing? Do I need to get on Threads?" And I'm like, "No. Eye on the prize, tunnel vision, let's go." So I get it. I get it. That whole shiny object syndrome, that feeling of FOMO, it's real. Sometimes it is something we need to give our attention to, but a lot of times, unless you just have a huge marketing team that you can expend their time and energy on learning a new platform, it's not always where we need to be putting our attention. So we're going to dive into all of that.
Yes, love it, love
Yeah.
it. So, Tiffany, you've got a great track record, tons of accomplishments, worked
Mm.
in corporate, worked for yourself, you're on your 5th
Mhm.
business you had mentioned. Along that time in that journey, I'm sure there was one conversation that changed the trajectory of your life. Can you
Mm.
tell us a little bit about, and there's probably many,
There's
I did
probably
a
many.
live
Yeah.
today and I went through like 15 people I met in the last 11 months and I'm like, I get it. But
Yeah.
who's been that one conversation where you may have showed up somewhere or been in the right place, the right time, and that
Mm.
just transcended and changed things for you? Can you share that with
Oh
us?
my gosh, just one? I have to pick one? Okay. There's been so many, and if I had more time to think about it, I'm sure I could go a little farther back in the archives, but, my brain is not gonna go that far back right now. Right now, the first person that comes to my mind would be one of my business coaches. I think I was working with Kaylee in, let's go with 2016-ish, and at the time, I was running my PR and branding agency, but I was a little unfulfilled if I'm being really honest. And so I was also dabbling in influencer world on Instagram, and I had this blog, and I was on my own wellness journey, and I was kind of on my own journey of overcoming burnout, to be quite frank. And she sat me aside, and I don't remember specifically what went down in that conversation, but I remember that I had been asked to give a presentation. It's the first time I had been asked to give this official presentation in front of a room of about 50 people. And I don't remember what the number was that I told her I was going to charge. And she was just like, absolutely not. And so the conversation revolved around my worth, right? And it really was a moment in time where I was terrified to do what she was encouraging me to do, but I also knew that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and not feel the way I was feeling, which was tired, burnt out, exhausted, unfulfilled, right? So it was really about mindset, money mindset and self-worth, but she just was like, "You're going in, you're asking for this amount." I'll never forget, it was $5,000, and I thought she was ludicrous, and I went in and I asked for $5,000 and they said, "Yeah, okay, let's go." And it changed my life because it was a moment where I did something that felt really scary to me. And the universe rewarded me with this thing that's like, oh, you're worth so much more than you've been giving yourself credit for such a long time. So it's been easier for me every step of the way from that moment to step into my worth and encourage others to step into their worth too.
It's amazing, amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, just that
Yeah.
concept, right? Like, understanding
Yeah.
your worth is so powerful and,
Yeah.
ties back to what you're speaking about at Impact Effect
Yeah.
23, the clarity, right? Like,
Hmm.
after that moment, it gave you clarity on your worth and where to go and what to charge and
Hmm.
what to do, and it's amazing,
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
I keep doing these interviews and talking to the speakers, I'm like, wow, like, everybody
Yeah.
has those moments where it's just like, boom, and that's what
Hmm.
we're trying to create, right? We're trying to put
Yeah.
the right people in the room, and we're qualifying people, and we're seating people next to each other specifically after I speak to them and call them and ask who
Hmm.
they're looking to meet and connect with. And I just think it's so important because it's my duty, I feel like my obligation. It's my obligation to do that. And that's what I feel called
Yeah.
for. And if
Yeah.
I can have one person have that conversation with a speaker or someone else
Mhm.
in the audience or attending or a sponsor
Yeah.
or a vendor, like that's all worth it. All the stress, the heartache. Like, you do events, this is a crazy task.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of pressure that goes on with an event. You have this hard deadline and there's no getting around it, but it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, and I think your energy and your intentions are very clear. So I'm excited for everyone that says yes and gets in the room with us, because sometimes it's just that one little momentary 30-second nugget that you take with you and changes the trajectory of your life. It's pretty insane.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on that concept of one
Yeah.
conversation, is any advice for someone to, looking for that type of conversation, you know,
Oh,
where to
yeah.
show up, what to do, or
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely surround yourself with the right people. And by right people, everybody's gonna have a different definition of that. So people that are where you want to be or a step ahead of you, people who have growth mindset as their number one, priority, people who are positive and inspirational and motivational and aren't going to rain on your ideas and rain on your parade because that's going to happen. So it's up to you to make sure that that sway of 49, 51%, it's up to you to make sure that you're getting 51% positive if you're going to have 49% negative in your world. Like, it's up to you. So put yourself in the right room with the right people who will inspire you and help you get to where you want to go.
it's amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that impact effect 23 is that right room for most people.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, well, I appreciate you, diving into this and being so authentic and giving us the sneak peek. I got a couple
Yeah.
more questions for you. What
Let's do
are
it.
what are the top 3 things that an entrepreneur should know, in your opinion?
Mm.
This
Oh
is
my
something
gosh.
where I know it's a loaded question,
It is a loaded question.
and it's just something that I'm so curious about, right? Like, I see people
Yeah.
like you with the success, and you're living a lifestyle, and
Hmm.
you enjoy what you do, and you impact lives. Like, what
Hmm.
are the top 3 things that an entrepreneur should know that may have gotten you to where you're at today?
Yeah, when I answer this, I usually think back to my beginning journey, which I started my first business in 2011, and the things I didn't know that I wish I'd known. One would be buckle up. It's not a linear ride. There's going to be ups and downs. Buckle up. Get ready for it. If you're expecting this like trajectory that's either all up or that's nice and smooth, you're going to be sorely mistaken and you're going to have a harder time navigating around those moments. So that would be my first one is buckle up, get ready for the ride. It's thrilling, but it is not without some ups and downs. Number two would be, and this sounds cliche coming from a business coach, but just trust me when I say it. Find yourself a mentor, find a business coach, find a coach of any sorts, because that's how you're going to experience those quantum leaps. And there are no trophies for doing it the hard way or taking the long way. There just aren't, right? So if you can experience a quantum leap, if you can fast forward a little bit and get to that destination a little bit faster, you're going to be less exhausted, less burnt out. Everybody wins. Find a mentor, find a coach, find someone who's a few steps ahead of you at least, and lean on them. So I guess maybe my third one would be open to accepting help. Don't think you know it all and don't think that you have to know it all. Be really open to accepting help, staying curious, I mean, we all hear about that embracing failure mindset, but I would say it goes back first and foremost to just being open to accepting help.
That's huge. That's huge. And that's
Yeah.
something that I battle with, being totally
Yeah.
vulnerable and,
Yeah.
making some of the leaps that I've made. I struggle with it all the time. And, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you need people to
Mhm.
conquer big things that impact and affect others, right? And
1000%.
you can have an impact this big, and then you can build a team of one other person and quadruple that impact, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And it's just
Yep.
it's such a life lesson, and I'm feeling it the last year and a half more than ever,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, it's
it's
scary. Yeah, it's scary to say, "Oh, I have this big vision and I have these dreams and I'm gonna bring in someone else to trust me to bring it to fruition." It requires vulnerability, it requires a huge leap of faith sometimes if you have to invest in any of that outside help. But when I say help, I don't always mean help that you have to invest in, just to clarify. There's lots of people that are willing to help you along the way that don't require an exchange of money, right? But a lot of times when it is time to grow, as you know, it does require like bringing on a team member and that can feel really scary, but you're only going to get so far as a party of one. And I always say, name one big business owner, like give me a Steve Jobs or whomever who got to where they are by themselves.
you can't.
You can't. It doesn't exist. It's not possible. So why would we try to do that? It's just silly.
Totally, totally. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm with you. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. You're getting me fired
Yeah.
up, bringing up good nuggets. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Um, What do you do for professional development, Tiffany?
Yeah.
There's so many different, right? You can do podcasts and books, but is there
Hmm.
anything that you invest in, anything that
Yeah.
you share with the entrepreneur or business owner that, obviously is education and continuing to
Hmm.
grow, but is there anything that you do specifically that you just, it's like a non-negotiable and you've seen that
Yeah.
move the needle for you?
Oh my God, yes. And you mentioned education, so I'm going to give my quick little spicy take on that. I think that's a little bit of a trap sometimes. Oftentimes, you already know what you need to know to move your business forward. I see so many of my clients fall into the trap of, I need more education, I need more education. And really, they're just delaying themselves into what they want. But that's a sidebar. The things that are
Analysis
non-negotiable for
paralysis.
me. The things that are non-negotiable for me, yoga. I'm a big yogi. Even if I just go to yoga, hot yoga once a week, it clears my mind. It gives me epiphanies, and it makes me feel like a human again. I journal quite frequently, and I offer some journals that I created because I'm such an avid journaler with my dreams, with my goals, with my mindset. And then I invest in my own coaching. So I have my own business coach, and if I'm not working with a business coach, I have my own little tribes of mentorships that I've created from being in other masterminds where I connect with other women, and I'm like, hey, the four of us, we really seem to have a lot of things in common, but have different demographics. Would you want to have a monthly meetup? And they'll say yes. And so now I've got these like ongoing kind of tribes of people who I feel like are on my wavelength and support me. So that's what I meant maybe when I said like it doesn't always have to require monetary expenses to find your support. But between those four things, those are my non-negotiables. Like couldn't continue on this path, and wouldn't be able to hold myself accountable to living the life and the standards in which I preach if I didn't have that in my life.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think you're 100% correct when it comes to asking for help doesn't necessarily mean to go buy a program and spend thousands of dollars, right? You,
Yeah.
you can reach out to someone, and a lot of people will have a 10-minute conversation with you and give you
Mhm.
a little piece to focus on for the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And most of the time you fall in love with that person and you end
Yeah.
up working with them, right? But like
Yeah.
just think back so many opportunities to grow and reach out to people and they're willing to help, and you just got to ask. It comes back to asking for help.
Just gotta ask. It comes back to asking for help. It comes back to being vulnerable. It comes back to being a little bit bold, because it can feel scary. I've been chatting a lot lately about that concept of rejection therapy. Have you heard of that?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So it comes back to that. Like maybe you've got to do something a little bit scary, make one ask every day for the next 5 days that feels out of your comfort zone, and by day 5 notice what happened and how has it changed. I've been on a bold journey this week with a client of mine. She was like, "Okay, what happens if I spend this whole week being wildly audacious, just making wildly audacious asks?" And so I said, "I'll do it with you, right? And unity, we'll do this together." And it's so funny, but I was at a dinner just a few nights ago. And one of the things that went through my mind, this is going to sound so off topic, but I promise it relates, is we're sitting at a high top, my friend and we both had purses, and there was nowhere to put our purse, and that chair had like a rounded back. If you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. You can't hang your purse there. There was nowhere to put our purse, and our table was tiny. So I had literally hung my purse on my foot. And I thought to myself, why don't I just ask them for another chair to hold our bags? But there's like this good girl syndrome in me that's like, I don't want to be too much. I don't want to ask for anything. And I was like, nope, this is the week of being wildly audacious, and I'm going to ask for a chair. And I turned to find my waiter, and he's coming at me with a chair for our bags. And so it was just this moment of permission from the universe of like, see, these things that sometimes you think are these wild and crazy asks are actually not wild and crazy at all, but you've got to put it yourself out there and make it a priority.
It was I was talking with Janine Driver, another one of our speakers at Impact Effect 23, and she was talking about manifestation. She was just on the
Mhm.
Kelly and Mark Ripa show,
Yeah.
and she got originally 2 minutes, and she said she manifested that she would have double that. So she went
Wow.
in and she went to record, and at the end of the day they were like, okay, this one ran over, we need to do cuts, so we're going to have you back tomorrow. but tomorrow we
Mhm.
want you to do 4 minutes.
I love it.
And
I
then she
love
was
it.
like talking to someone doing makeup, and she was like, you know what? I want to do 8 minutes. And then something else happened, and then they were like, "You know what? We're gonna record it and air it, and we're gonna actually give you 8 minutes." And it was just
Wow.
like this manifestation that happened immediately. And
Yep.
it sounds like something similar with you, right? Like you're
Yeah.
thinking about it, you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna be audacious," and it already happens for you.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know,
And
and
it's
that's
like
so
sometimes we just need those
important.
yeah. Yeah.
Especially like bringing it back to the conference, right? Like
Mhm.
it's so important because come into the conference, follow all the speakers, look them up, come with
Mhm.
questions, come with
Mhm.
opportunities, ideas, right? Put yourself in
Mhm.
that right mindset to come
Mhm.
open and available. And when you come
Yeah.
open, you're going to receive because we
Yeah.
can't hack this thing. Like
Yeah.
if you're ready, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, and my ask would be if you're listening and you're thinking, "I don't know what my bold thing would be," if you wouldn't normally go up and speak to one of the speakers, come up and speak to one of us. Trust me, we love nothing more than to speak with someone after we get up there, and it's kind of vulnerable to get up there and command that stage and share our story and hope that we're impacting someone. So when you come up and even if it's just to strike a conversation, it doesn't have to be anything related to what we spoke about, but just strike up those conversations, right? Like we're all worthy beings in the room. So
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Speaking of other speakers, anybody you're super excited to spend some time with?
I'm
We've got
I
Craig
yes.
Siegel, Tim Corey, Jamie Miller, Cody
I
Askin.
know. I know it's gonna be so fun, and a few of them have already reached out to me in the DM, so we're chatting and kinda getting to know each other ahead of time, which I'm excited about, and I'm definitely looking forward to meeting people at the VIP party the night before, and now I wanna learn some manifestation tips from Janine, so let's go.
I know.
I'm
It's gonna be
ready.
a fun time. It's gonna be a fun
Yeah.
time. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Tiffany. I really appreciate you spending some time, and, I'm excited to have you at Impact Effect 23. If you're listening to this,
Mhm.
grab your tickets before the reserve spaces run out for you, impacteffect23.com, and we'll see you in
Yeah.
October.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.